Thanks, Fiona, for the introduction. And hello, everyone. And for those who have been following us from the past two episodes, welcome back. Welcome to our last session, Advancing a Mission with Insights. And as introduced, I'm joined by Haley as well as Adam. And by way of introduction, my name is Brenda Wei, and I'm a solution engineer aligned to Salesforce at nonprofit team. So let's get straight into it in terms of forward-looking statement, is that to make sure you make your purchasing decisions based on currently available products. And as always, we would like to thank everyone for their time today, especially for those joining us during our lunchtime. Hope you enjoy your meal and watching this webinar as well. And also for the F&P, again, Fiona and team for allowing for this opportunity to present what Salesforce solution look like for our nonprofit, particularly for our fundraising team across Australia and New Zealand. And today's agenda will continue the same as before, where we're going to recap quickly what happened previously, what you'll be hearing in terms of in nonprofit world. We'll also take a look at the live demonstration followed by a Q&A. And as mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat and we'll be addressing them at the end of the webinar. So previously on, we have taken a look at the introducing Salesforce CRM. We get started with what is nonprofit cloud and what are the out-of-the-box capability that you have using the Salesforce platform. We then take a look further into how you can use the data to engage with your donors through marketing as well as the self-service experience. And today, as our final part, we're going to be talking about how you can take the platform to its full extent using automation intelligence to advance your mission. And we're pretty excited to showcase you that as well. And for those who are only joining today, just want to quickly recap when we talk about CRM and the platform and what it really means for Salesforce. It is not only a solution for you to manage all your donor contacts and volunteer details and all in one place, but it is a tool to help you enhance and grow your organization. And today we're going to take a look at what it really means when we talk about the Salesforce being a scalable platform. So let's start by taking a look at what we have heard from the nonprofits based on the trends that we receive, not only from the supporter, but also from the fundraising employee perspective. So I want to start off by either taking a note in your head or maybe writing it in the comment in terms of what you think these numbers represent. So without taking too much time as well, what these numbers represent are what our supporters think when they encounter with the nonprofits. And as we can see, the first part of it is 84% of our donors in Australia, they are likely to support the same organization again. And likewise, 95% of the volunteers, or 91% of the volunteers in Australia are likely to re-volunteer for the same organization. However, 19% says that they are often asked for money way too often. And what this data essentially shows is that there is loyalty from our supporters, whether it be a donors or a volunteer. And it's thinking about how we can continue to retain them or upgrade them at the right time, asking for the right amount. We also found that based on the digital maturity and how technology becomes a big role in things that we do day to day, only 34% reported of making decisions based on the data and evidence. And one of the main challenge that organizations find is the fact that it's always hard to find and share the data across different teams. And when it involves working with different departments, that's where they struggle with the most. And oftentimes it's because of the disparate system. And looking at that as well, when it comes to the gap in terms of the digital maturity, even this is something that most nonprofit organizations see as a major role in terms of working online. Next slide, please. Is that in order to be able to accomplish this digital maturity, it's always important to look into the adoption of the technology, how we can work with what we have. But what we want to talk about today is that it doesn't really matter whether you're an organization with a team of 5 or a large scale organization with staff across the country. We want to show you how Salesforce can help your organization in terms of what you do and where you want to get in the future as well. So how does it work is that we go back to talking about the first episode where we talk about the Customer 360 platform, which not only gives you that entire view, single view of your supporters, donors, volunteers, but also in episode 2, we talk about that enhancing that digital experience. And what we'll be seeing today is the power of the platform, how you can use that single view built on the Customer 360 platform to operate within the privacy, trust, security, and speed, and also in terms of being able to scale scale what you do within the organization as your team grow and your organization mature. And with the 3 updates that we offer as well, we're always there to catch up with the latest technology. And adding to that is that layer of intelligence with Einstein on top of the high-performance foundation that we have in place as well. So without further ado, in today's live demonstration today, we'll be seeing this in action on how you can leverage the data to advance your mission and how you can cross-collaborate with different people from within the team. So I'm going to hand it over to Haley to get started.
Had to find the unmute. Classic start. Hello, everyone. My name is Haley. I am a platform architect for Salesforce working with nonprofits. And it's my absolute pleasure today to present the first part of our story. So I've got a couple of characters I need to introduce you to. First and foremost is myself. I am the newest employee for our nonprofit here in the supporter services team. Now, you're going to watch me interact with Rachel Morris, who's one of our regular donors, but as a result of COVID and some stresses there, she needs to cancel her regular gift. Now we're going to see how Haley receives prompts and recommendations inside the tool, inside Salesforce itself, to try and stop that from happening. And finally, how she's able to then alert Brenda, who is the major gift officer, using some of the collaboration tools inside Salesforce. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So like I mentioned, our first character that we're seeing today is Haley. And this is what her day looks like when she starts off. Like many of us, she grabs herself a coffee, she sits down at her laptop, she logs into Salesforce, and it's her job to make sure she is responding to our clients, our donors, our volunteers, our participants as seamlessly and as quickly as possible. Now, the really handy thing about Salesforce's supporter services tool is that no matter how these people wanted to reach out to my business and my company, it all gets funneled here into the one place. So no matter if they wanted to send us an email, engage in live chat on our website, maybe they fill out a web form, all of those get funneled here into the one place. So I don't have to be swiveling across all of these different systems to respond to my different constituents' needs. So we're now going to see a call between Haley and Rachel, who's going to call in about this concern she's got with her regular giving. Now, to do that, Haley's going to leverage a little productivity tool in the bottom left of her screen that we can see called Omnichannel. Now, Omnichannel helps to funnel the right work to the right support servicer who's got the skills and the time to respond to that particular case or inquiry. So we'll see with this inbound request, the fact that it's funneled automatically to Haley because she's ready to go.
Calling. How can we help you today?
I want to cancel a donation.
Okay, got it. Thank you for calling. Your call is very important to us and will be answered in the order it was received. Basic queue.
Excellent. So what just happened there was Rachel, when she called in, you didn't quite hear it, but the system was able to look into Salesforce, find her record, greet her by name, ask her for a little bit of information about what she's calling about. And we see here she wants to cancel a donation. And all of this information was then given to my support servicer before they've even needed to greet Rachel or say anything to her. So when I pick up this call, I have so much data at my fingertips. I see that Rachel here, she's a major donor prospect. She's a volunteer at the level of ally. I've got her account name that she belongs to, her email, all of this rich information. Now, because she wants to cancel a donation, I want to be on the front foot now as I greet her to try and see what's gone wrong and how we might be able to help her. Hi, Rachel. Thanks so much for calling in. I noticed that you wanted to cancel a donation with us. Could you tell me a little bit more about the context?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Haley. Yeah, it's just been a rough year with COVID, so I was just wondering if it's okay if I can just cancel my donation. I'm sure I'll start again soon.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. If you wanted to start again soon, have you considered maybe reducing the amount of your donation or the frequency instead?
I didn't know that was possible. Yeah, I'm interested. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Now, what you just saw happen there was Haley was able to leverage these next best action insights on the right-hand side of her screen to figure out what maybe is another way that she can help this particular donor to still stay engaged with our organization without dropping off entirely. So she's going to go ahead and accept this one to walk Rachel and herself through reducing the total amount of that donation. Now, what you'll notice happens is she's popped open a Salesforce flow. Now, flows help to guide your users through step-by-step actions of how they can complete different tasks inside the system. Now, not only is this going to help her, it's also giving Haley a call script to know exactly what she should be saying. Hey, Rachel, firstly, I just want to say a huge thank you for your support so far. I can see that you're currently donating $35 every single month. Would you like me to reduce that down to $25 a month for you?
Actually, that's a lot more manageable. Yeah, thanks.
Perfect. Now, in true style, we have a celebration on the screen of confetti to congratulate Haley for her great work working with Rachel and helping to keep that relationship alive and that regular donation coming in to support all their wonderful services. Hey, Rachel, thank you so much for continuing to support our mission. We've been able to successfully process that donation. You should have gotten that update as an email, but would you like me to send you a follow-up email or a text message confirmation as well?
I prefer text if that's okay.
Absolutely, I can definitely do that. Thank you very much, Rachel. It's been a pleasure working with you, and thank you for your continued assistance.
It's been my absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Bye, Rachel. So there was a lot that we just saw happen there. But to wrap it up, we saw how Haley wasn't having to worry about typing lots of frantic notes about the conversation she was having and the actions that she was taking. She was really focused, other than turning herself off and on mute, on that dialogue she was having with Rachel and how she could ensure that relationship stayed strong. Now, really conveniently, in the background, the system was taking a stream of notes and doing that real-time transcription of the conversation that was taking place. So if for any reason we needed to monitor that after the call for quality and training purposes, as a manager being looped in because it's a harder conversation and wanting to coach Haley about how she can do it better, we've got that entire transcription there of what took place. Now, Haley needs to action on the fact that Rachel here is a major donor prospect. So she wants to jump into her contact record. Now, the fact that she's a major donor prospect is exciting, but Haley should probably let Brenda know about the fact that we did just reduce the total donation amount that she was doing at an ongoing basis. So if Brenda was thinking of proactively reaching out to Rachel and having a conversation, this is definitely important information that I should make her aware about. Now, we've all seen what's happened over the past couple of years where with COVID, working from home, it's made our teams a lot more isolated. Luckily, Haley's able to leverage tools inside the system like Chatter, which is that baked-in collaboration platform inside of Salesforce. So if I jump in here and @mention Brenda and say, Rachel just reduced donation amount. Brenda's going to get that alert either via email and inside of Salesforce here. To then jump directly into this record and respond to that. It's not an email where I have to put in heaps of different context. Hey, Brenda, do you remember Rachel? Well, you know, there's some data that you should know about her. It's keeping all of that collaboration here inside the tool. So not wanting to give too much away, I'll now pass over to Brenda to see how she's able to action on this insight she just received.
Thank you, Haley, and also Adam for starring as Rachel Morris. And from now, I'm going to take over as Brenda, who is the major gift officer who will be receiving a message from Haley. And at the same time, we're also going to take a look at ways in which I can further engage with Rachel to make sure we continue that relationship. And we'll also take a look into how we can manage all of these gift pipeline that we have in place. So as in our typical work from home style, I'm currently out in the kitchen getting a sneaky snack break while I heard a ping on my phone. And that is the message that Haley just tagged me in. Salesforce is made mobile first. So that means you can get access to information all in one go. And with the offline capability as well, it makes it very easy for me once I'm able to get out there, and even in the remote regions where we don't have internet access, as all the data will be synced back through the app and onto the CRM itself. My chatter feed shows me that Haley has tagged me on this alert about Rachel just reducing the donation amount, which is one of my major donor prospects, and that is something that I need to be aware of. Looking into a profile, that's something that I want to get started working on. So I'm going to walk back to my desk to resume my work and review Rachel's profile. As a relationship manager who is responsible to maintaining that connection with Rachel, I have access to additional information that Haley from the supporter services team did not have access to. And this is all done through Salesforce layers of security and permission set that you can assign to as well. And at the same time, because I with the Einstein prediction, with all of the data that we have gathered throughout the year, I noticed that she has the potential to upgrade. And these are the few recommended amount that I can request from her. Naturally, this is not something that I'll be doing straight away, even as she just called to reduce the donation amount. But perhaps a few months down the track, I can put myself as a reminder to then start engaging with Rachel to consider as a major donor conversation. Did you know that statistically speaking, 3 out of 5% of your database have the potential to make a major gift? And because of that as well, with the prediction, now I know instantly who are the individuals that I can engage with and start creating what we call an engagement plan. Because of this data, we can now have a more meaningful data and interpretation for individuals like us who are very much tunnel vision in terms of who we're engaging with, as opposed to having all of this data, being able to analyze them all in from the bird eye view. Now with the guided flow as well, I'm just prompted with a few of these options to be able to take into the next best steps that I can take. And in this instance, we have this major gift solicitation plan created for me. And this engagement plan is essentially a group of tasks and reminders that has not only been assigned to me, but anyone else involved in this particular engagement. And right now I'm prompted with starting with doing a prospect research. And this is really helpful for me because now I can follow the best practice set out by the team and hold myself and others accountable with all the reminders and tasks that I need to do to follow through within the right time frame as well. Flow can not only prompt with all of these instructions, it can also create records. And in this case, I'm prompted to create a major gift donation pipeline that's going to eventually help me with the potential revenue forecasting in the following year as well. Now, Salesforce nonprofit success pack sits on our core sales cloud, meaning managing the pipeline is our bread and butter of Salesforce. And to top it off as well with this Einstein opportunity scoring, it gives me the confidence and comfort that this is likely to be a successful conversation based on the factors, top positive and negative, that has been provided to me. And because of this one, I can now confidently start engaging with Rachel and have this conversation continuing along the way. This guidance for success down here with all the stages and the steps that I need to do are really helpful in terms of providing me with what are the things that I need to do in order for me to move forward to the next step. And this is super helpful, whether it be I'm new to the team or whether I'm new to the organization. This is where I can get all the support that I need as an individual. Oftentimes, as someone who is engaging with our donor, we often rely on our experiences, and that in combination with the guidance for success is going to help me really go through all the information that I need before I go into the next stage of this conversation. Let's just say that a few years or months, if we have to be ambitious, down the track, we have successfully finished the conversation, and we're going to close this particular conversation, and that Rachel has agreed to become our major donor. Of course, we can never get enough of our celebration and confetti. And as it happens is that we are now going to then take a look at the payments that are coming in. Yay, confettis. As the payments come in, what I can see is how this fundraising data is now translated into something that makes sense for the finance team. And I understand understand that this is something, the ongoing conversation between the fundraising team and the finance team in terms of where is this, who is this donor, where is this money going to, and what does it look like? And the ledger entries allow you to have them formatted in a way that makes sense for your accounting system. And more importantly, especially as donors expect more and more now to be able to see the key impact that they're making, it's always very easy for me to just allocate it to certain programs or projects that Rachel wants to support, and remind myself and Rachel that, by the way, your donation to this particular youth development program has come in, and we're so excited to show you the impact. Tying all of these together, not only from the internal process perspective, but also working cross collaboration with the finance team, as well as extending it out to our important donors and letting them know that this is what they have been contributing towards within our project charity organization. So to wrap it up today, what I want to go into is to, not only just today, but the entire series episode, is to look into that data analytics from the perspective of the head of fundraising. I'm doing a year-end review, and I want to understand ways in which we can reach out to more donors. And now I'm currently looking at Tableau CRM, previously known as Einstein Analytics. If you have been following Salesforce from many years ago, is that it's a cloud-based platform that's designed for any of the users of your team to be able to get instant insights into the data across different systems. And in a short way, I like to call this your personal data scientist on the platform, because at a snap of a finger, you'll be able to see all the insights all in one place. And today, what I want to do is to see how different states have been performing over the past donation. And just with the natural language processing that we have in place, it is as simple as typing it into this text field to actually see, to bring up the information that I want. So last donation amount by state. Making sure I'm not logged out from the system. There you go. And with that, what happens is it has saved me so much time, just by saved me so much time from having to comb through different spreadsheets or coming up with complex formula or recreating the entire report, because I'm able to quickly just understand how different states have been performing in terms of our reach. And perhaps if I want to extend to another state, South Australia seems like an option that we want to go into. If I want to further understand all of these data, what I can do is to then create a story where Einstein's going to then craft all of this information, and within just a few minutes, you'll be able to discover the trends that are in place. Now, this is an example of what it can look like. And in this instance, it helps me understand ways in which I can maximize the donation amount as I go through. And what this story does is to use the statistical modeling as well as machine learning to collect all the data across a different system and produce a report trend like this. And this analytics show us what happened based on the historical data that we have. And here it is very clear to me that our donors from the tech industry who are based in New South are our most important donor, who has been donating a large sum of money to us. And at the same time, we're able to see some of these both positive and negative trends as well. And oftentimes, we don't typically collect all the information from our supporters, whether it be donors or volunteers, in one go. And in this instance, we noticed that for those who we don't know the background of, are usually the volunteers who don't really engage with as much as well. And that explains it, because sometimes it's not just the unknown, the known insight that we have as well, but all this unknown data that we have to help validate the assumptions that we have. And as a head of fundraising, it helps me then save time to decrypt what some of these data means. I can easily make sense of how the organization is performing, what are the next steps, and what makes sense for us. And today, what I want to wrap it up is to look into ways in which I can increase the donation from perhaps our donors from the tech industry. I can take a look at some of these actionable predictions to see what are the things that could happen and what are the ways in which we can improve. So for example, the insight tell me that perhaps I could encourage some of the volunteers to spend more time with our organization. That will likely increase the donation amount that they have. And now I can look at this analytics data and prediction to now confidently strategize and predict what it will look like based on the what if scenario that we have in our mind. So wrapping up for today, what we have seen is what you can do with a solution like Salesforce that is built on the Customer 360 platform that allows you to leverage your data, as well as allow you to cross-collaborate between the team, as we have seen across Haley and myself today, as well as pull all of this data into insights that are story-based, that are prediction-based, allow you to plan out the next step for the next step of your organization. We started off with the very basic of the single view of our supporter, what it looks like using nonprofit cloud. We look into digital engagement, and now today we wrap it up with ways in which you can collaborate and analyze your data. And as mentioned before, regardless of whether you're a team of 5 or a large organization that's managing across the country, the platform will scale and grow alongside you. As Fiona mentioned, you'll be receiving a copy of the deck, and these are some of the ways in which you can learn. Get onto Trailhead, earn some badges and points, and learn what Salesforce look like. Make sure you save the date for our summit as well and join the community. And if you're joining today and missed out on previous episodes, feel free to take a look at it on the FNP YouTube as well. And with that, thank you everyone for your today. And if you have any questions, we're happy to address them with the time we have.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Brenda and Haley, and what a lovely donor Rachel was as well. So thank you. We do encourage people to put questions in if they have them. We know we're coming up to 1 o'clock, but if you have any questions at all, just pop them in. I might just ask a question myself, which is obviously that example that you gave was of someone who was a regular giver and was going to become a major donor prospect. Would the processes that you've described today work for corporates and a kind of corporate sponsorship workflow?
For sure. There are different ways in which you can manage these different type of conversation and donation funding conversation you have. So we have what the concept of record type that allows you to process different workflow, different stages, and being even the view itself that you'll be seeing, depending on what kind of topic you're talking about. Is it corporate, major gift, or bequest? You'll be able to manage that using ClickSnap configuration.
Perfect, thank you. A question here from Lauren. Does Einstein come at an additional cost?
Yes, it does. And feel free to reach out to your account exec to work out what it will be like. And it's most likely you'll be talking to one of us as well to match up the use case.
Wonderful, thank you. Can I just ask a question that follows on from that? The omni-channel tool, it was kind of managing the calls, was just looked like such a fantastic tool. Is that part of the not-for-profit success pack, or is that an app that you add on?
Do you want me to take that one, Brenda?
Yeah.
I can go. Yes, that's part of so the not-for-profit success pack sits on top of the Salesforce platform, and omni-channel is a part of that, just part of Salesforce that configures and works with the not-for-profit success pack.
Brilliant, that's great, thank you. Can I just ask a question? You mentioned briefly about Tableau. When would you recommend using Tableau, and I hope I'm saying that right, Tableau instead of reports and dashboards?
I can give this a go first, and Haley, feel free to jump in afterwards as well. Typically, the out-of-the-box reports and dashboard are something that users can just create one on their own or share it across the team, and something that's more of a static data that you currently have. Tableau, CRM, or Einstein Analytics become a lot useful if you want to start drilling down into the details, looking at ways in which you want to action from there, as well as we're seeing from the demo. And the other part of it is the external data, understanding that nonprofits do work with different systems across, and being able to bring all the data in one place and having that insights all together is really helpful when it comes to looking into Tableau CRM as in comparison to the out-of-the-box reports and dashboards.
Fantastic. Thank you, Haley. Yep, great. I will ask one last question, unless there's any more from the audience. This is obviously everything that you do in Salesforce involves data, and we are, obviously becoming increasingly conscious of data security. So how do a number of team members, and the processes that you've described today are obviously very collaborative. How do a number of team members collaborate in Salesforce whilst making sure that people don't see data that they shouldn't have access to? So I'm assuming there'll be different levels and so on.
Yeah, great question, and always really wonderful to hear people keeping security top of mind. Brenda touched on the solution when she was giving the demonstration, where she talked about profiles and record types. So you can be assigning different profiles to different users within your business who have the various levels of access that they need. So we can get as granular as pieces of information, individual fields on certain records that users may or may not be able to see. So things like credit card information, things like personal emails or details, we can make sure that, if I am in the support care team, I might not have access to that, but if I'm in the relationships team, I do need access to that.
Okay, so you can very much tailor it to different users. Fantastic. Well, that's great. We've gone over 1 o'clock now, and I can see people are starting to head off to either their lunch or other meetings. So we will wrap it up there. But thank you so much to the team from Salesforce today. That was a really great presentation, and we really encourage people who perhaps have missed the first 2 Salesforce sessions to go back and watch them on our YouTube channel, because it does take you on a really good journey, and that first session really is the introduction to the Not-for-Profit Success Pack. So go back and have a look at those. All of our Tech Thursday webinars will be available on our YouTube channel from next week. Thank you everyone who's joined the series. Thank you to Salesforce. Thank you to all of our presenters. We will send out an email next week with the slides and the recording from this session, as well as links to all of the previous Tech Thursday sessions as well. So it's the last one for the year. Thank you everyone for being here. And we look forward to seeing you again next year, and all the best for the rest of 2021. Let's hope next year is less eventful. But thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.